Yo, what's good, everybody? This is another episode of Imprecisely. I'm Jordan Valenzuela, and I'm joined by my good friend, um, future Grammy Award winner,
Oh my gosh.
my good friend Joseph. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Just chilling here. And it's nice to be here joining you in your podcast. I'm very excited.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for doing it. First of all, like I know it was a while to get it scheduled in, but we're here now, and I appreciate you taking the time, bro. I know. So for people who don't know, you moved from Oahu to Seattle,
Yeah.
so that it's like a 3 hour time difference.
3 hours. Not too bad. Weather different. And moved from Kapolei here to Tacoma, which is like pretty Seattle.
Cap
And
City, Cap City.
uh and representing the Waipahu district,
Right. Yeah. So why just for people who don't know, why'd you move up to Seattle, bro?
I got a job offer here to work as an RN and to practice skills. If from Hawaii, you guys know that a lot of new grads kind of have struggle finding their first initial job. So this is one way for me to experience nursing and then potentially come back home and support and pretty much take care of the people of Oahu.
Nice. So you got your nursing where at Chaminade, HPU, UH?
I got mine to HPU, Hawaii Pacific University. Just graduated December 2019, and it's been a breeze. Studying, pretty much was studying during the whole pandemic. Was escalating, and right now, pretty much like taking care of a lot of the COVID patients at the moment.
So that's interesting. My sister just started her nursing program at HPU. It's her freshman year. She just got out of high school. So this is her first year.
Yeah, if she has any questions or recommendations, let me know. I'll do the best of my ability to lead her or how to study to a specific professor, because everybody has their own like games on how they do their exams. So love how about another nurse,
Yeah, nice, dude. So you're in contact on a regular with COVID patients?
For the most part. So I work in the tele cardiac floor, and mainly that's like what we take care of. But my floor itself is 43 beds, and so they take care of like almost like 1/3 of our floor is COVID, and we're transitioning to make it almost half the whole hospital COVID floors. So it's steady. There's good days and bad days, but we're always striving just to take care of what's in front of us rather than hoping that days get better, because you just need to look forward. That's all it is.
Right. Have you ever had like was there ever concern that you would get COVID yourself, or everything's pretty much kind of secure and safe and sanitary?
I mean, it's sanitary for the most part, but at the same time, like, COVID is kind of invisible. It's air. So, just because you have your N95, doesn't mean you're fully safe. There are times where we're taking a break and we have to take it off because I get a headache wearing the N95.
Yeah, we had to get fitted for one too. I know how you feel, bro.
And you know how it is for N95. It's like lack of oxygen. So lack of oxygen gives you like a mean headache. So imagine wearing that throughout the whole shift. And or if it's not the N95, we're wearing like a whole capper, like a helmet. So
with the shield.
The one with the shield and every little bit of air coming out. But a sense of when we take a break, sometimes we have to take off our mask in the break room just to take a breather. But again, that break room that we have is the whole hospital.
Yeah.
Our hospital is closed off windows, even though there's a filter. You just never know.
It's all kind of contained, yeah.
Yeah, there's just a sense of containment, even though there's a filter and everything. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. You just pray every time that you don't get sick and that you're pretty much avid at taking care of your body, taking care of your health, and being proactive on knowing the signs and symptoms of COVID. So I scared, but I took my COVID for all you guys to know. I took my COVID once when I thought I got sick, but it's just, flu season is also around the corner. So flu and COVID kind of share similar symptoms. So, sometimes you kind of think like, oh, maybe I get COVID. So I had to get swabbed, but fortunately, I was negative, so we all good.
Yeah. I always wondered about that. If you could clear the air, like I see and hear and read so many stories of people like they do multiple tests. Like the first one is positive, and then they quarantine, then they go back, it's negative, and then they take a third one and it's positive again. Like, is there a reason for that? Like, why does that happen?
I don't know. It could be a false test. From my experience to start off with. It could be the test taker. It could be the type of test. So there's like two types of tests that people kind of take that is available at the moment. Like Walgreens, CVS, they have either called a PCR, which takes about 2 to 3 days for results, or a rapid, which it takes 1 to 2 days. From what I know, from a rapid point of view, I don't think you don't go all the way in, or the way they're doing the tests in the labs are a little more quicker. But I believe the most accurate one in my experience so far is the PCR, because it takes like 2 to 3 days. So in a sense, they're kind of like, really analyzing it in the lab a little longer to really find out. And it could be, again, the test taker. Like, let's just say the test taker didn't go all the way in. Nose, that could be a false test take, but it's really hard to say because it's so new. But so far, my experience, I think that's why. I could be fully wrong, so don't quote me, guys. Sorry, but that's what I think.
I trust the nurse. Have you ever experienced like death related COVID related death since working with all these people?
I had some in a sense. It was kind of sad, just like for most part, like the whole idea of people think it's a fake, like, I'm not gonna get sick because I'm healthy, and then you see like on your Facebook or Instagram, like a person that was healthy got COVID, and some people call bull. Those stories are real. It's also situational basis. But at the same time, it's like you just never know who's gonna get it. It's hard to say because like sometimes you can be just hanging out with your family and you guys going for flag football or like to the park or to the mall, and then the next day your dad or your brother, your sister is sick, or yourself is sick, and next thing you know, you're just you can't breathe, and some of them don't make it. It's really hard to see that. I'm very fortunate to be in state of Washington, that it wasn't so crazy compared to other states and other countries. Like rest in peace and the people of New York that was had that crazy break, and Italy, and the people in China and everything. That's where it all kind of began in a sense. Like it's those outbreaks are real, man, and it takes the best of people. And one day you're again hanging out, and the next thing you know, you're kind of gone. it's never easy to see someone kind of be in the foot of you, in front of you, like passed away, and you was just talking to them like a couple of days, couple hours ago to start off with. But the profession is something you gotta just like swallow sometimes. You just gotta, you did your best, and just know that you did everything you can, and that person lived their full life, But yeah, it's sad. But I pray for all those,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
They were currently in your care when they passed, or like you were assigned to them and then they were already dying.
Yeah,
And
there's a few that I had in care. I mean, to lighten up the mood a little bit, there are many people that like got really better in
mm-hmm.
my case, but there were like a couple that was just a little unfortunate that didn't make it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the turnover for some of our patients so far that I took care of, like they get sick, they can't breathe, hang on a little bit longer, and we do our best to get them into, taking proper oxygen, and boom, they get better. And then wait till they turn negative, or maybe quarantine at home, and they're back again. So it's crazy. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, I never really
What?
thought when you're in nursing school that I was gonna do something like this.
Yeah. What's the process like, and how long does it take usually? Like, for example, for a person who gets admitted because of COVID-related symptoms, and then turns out they test positive, and then they're being treated, and then they get sent home to quarantine. Like, how long does that process take, and how do you know it's like, oh, they got a green light for them to send them home?
Oh well, it's kind of all different kind factors, but the main thing is that could the person go home without our fancy equipment?
All
That's
right,
like
right.
their that. Could they just go home and take care of it using the meds, the simpler medications that they got, such as like inhalers and some breathing treatments.
Mm.
But because you put yourself like a little bit in perspective, like to take home an oxygen tank is a lot,
Yeah. True.
and a special machine for breathing, that's a lot of money.
Is it like a life support machine, or it's breathing form? Not
There
necessarily.
breathing ones, but those are the really ICU ones. We don't have them go home because those ones are like a little more gnarly.
Mm.
Like they need that 24-hour care. The people I was talking about more like they kind of got out of the pneumonia, and they're productively coughing out, and they're spitting out gala gala kind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all they need is like albuterol and like some steroids to open up their airways, and kind of like and then there to kind of go home from there. So G
Oh,
from there.
nice. Well, I mean, wow. I pray for you, bro, that you're safe every day that you go to work. That's crazy,
I
dude.
thank you
And that,
so much.
yeah, you're doing a good deed helping these people out, especially in these crazy times, man. I respect everybody, healthcare essential workers, especially those who work like literally directly in contact. So,
Yeah,
like all the doctors, nurses, healthcare takers, I respect you guys a lot, and I pray for you that you stay safe up there, bro.
thanks, bro.
That's no joke. Yeah, like it's kind of in like, I mean, people have their beliefs, but to just totally, I see what you mean, like on the news and social media, when people just discredit it,
Yeah.
it comes off very like, like insensitive and um,
Mm-hmm.
just ignorant, when there's proven deaths documented
Yeah.
because of it. And so that's the sad part, but I'm glad that, you know awareness is brought to it, that there is a real thing, like this didn't just exist out of nowhere, like this is for real. So I respect you a lot for doing that, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, let's talk music, bro. For people who don't know, you are one of the most talented
Oh
guitarists
my gosh.
I know.
Understatement.
Most angelic understatement with one of the most angelic voices I know. Now you're the lead, one of the your vocalist and guitarist for in the band Ragamuffs, the Hawaii-based indie rock band, pop band. So first of all, why the name Ragamuffs? Where'd that come from?
Ragamuffs came from a word that we so like my girlfriend and I have like this song that we used to like back our sophomore year of college. It was called Ragamuffin by like this lady named Stella Sue, and we're like, um, we were thinking of a cool name back then, so we were like, it was a because me and my girlfriend Haley, we're a duo, so we were like, okay, back then we are like a folk duo. How about let's call ourselves like something bizarre, like Sir Ragamuffin and the Lady, something long like that, kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
put a thing in that, and then played a couple like open mics, and we went with that name, and we're like, oh, that's kind of long, that name. Looked at each other, it's like, how about the Ragamuffs? And then he was like, no, 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 how about take off the and just say Ragamuffs? I was like, what the heck's the Ragamuffs? Like, Ragamuffin, but like
Mhm.
just like very short, so just say Ragamuffs. I was
Right.
like, all right, I'll go with that. And so we kind of went with that, and
And it just stuck.
we just stuck with it, and Ragamuffs.
Nice. No, yeah, it's very. I don't know why it sounds like nostalgic. Like I feel like I know what a ragamuff is. Like if it's like when I first heard it, I was like, "Is that a food? I swear that's a show I used to watch as a kid." Like I feel like I know what that word is, but I have no clue what it is. So it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
nice that you cleared that up.
it's a fun word. It's a fun word for sure. It means I think in the dictionary we looked, it was like rugged child,
Oh,
um,
perfect.
like ripped up clothes, kind, like almost like poor boy kind.
Hmm.
But the other meaning is like a fluffy cat. We didn't even know the fluffy cat, but I guess it's yeah. So
Interesting.
uh, that's
So
where all their derivative is.
so who besides you and your girlfriend, who else is in the band and what does everybody else play?
So Haley and I are like the main, I guess, the mains of the band, and then we got some of our friends joining us to back us up with drums and bass, and we kind of interchange. But the last group that we had that we played with and for the last year was Locke Nishihara. She's our drummer. Little Asian girl. She rips the drums, man.
Nice.
And then my buddy Landon Tolentino, he rips the bass too, really hard. But yeah, with the quarantine thing, like it kind of put us into stop, and then I had to um, get some experience for work, and so it's in a sense like the COVID was kind of like a blessing in a sense because it definitely made things simpler for a lot of people,
Hmm.
So for me, like kind of just take off a little bit of pressure from the music and kind of just help people that need it at the most while the world is going crazy. But yeah,
Nice. Did your girlfriend move up with you, or she's back here? You guys
she
doing?
she's in Hawaii currently, and she will be joining me soon enough.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
we up Hawaii. We're not really telling people that we're out skis. So
Mm.
whoever is out, it's not, but we're not making a big deal out of it
Yeah,
because flying home to Hawaii is still accessible for us. We're
yeah. Hmm.
not bad stuff.
Yeah,
So back home.
nice. So, how did the band come about? How did you and your girlfriend start it? Like, you just both had like a passion for music, and then you just started writing your own songs, or like you
Some
came to her with a song and said, "Hey, let's," how did it all start?
Well, it's sort of like that. So, my girlfriend and I, we started playing church music.
Mm.
We played worship music when we were younger, We pretty much played all the way till like middle of our college years for the youth, you know. And then we kind of got older from the youth, so we had to like step down and, you know, pass it to the next batches of youth. And like on our downtime when we're not at church, you know, we kind of jam and play acoustic guitar. Sometimes play for weddings for friends and whatnot, like just for fun. And then I guess we got a chance to play an open mic during college, and some of our friends went through and did some covers, and people liked it and was suggesting we do something with it. And we're like, all right, well, let's keep playing, you know, let's do this every whatever. And then we were covering songs that were like, man, it would be so nice if there was a bass and a drums. And that kind of just like went with, or like, I have a buddy. And then, you know, we went from friends to friends to join us to this journey. And we're like, okay, kind of lame that we were playing someone else's song, so let's like make some new song ourselves. So
nice.
One song led to another song, and we just kept writing, me and Haley. So that's where we're at.
That's awesome, bro. That's kind of how it is, yeah. Like for a lot of people, like I've been playing worship music my whole life, and then we're kind of, and then our worship team is kind of the go-to like people to hit up when like we have family or friends who have a wedding that need for a reception, or they got a birthday party, or I mean even funerals, you know, like just anything. Like we're the go-to. That's that's so awesome.
It's so accessible because like, you guys play at church, you guys could play in a wedding, or you know, it's just like, and we do it for fun too, because most of the people that asked us were like, you know, we love them dearly. So we were college kids. We never had money to give like a fat donation or something nice. So one way to do it is to entertain them. So from there, we grew up together, and we pretty much played when we were a little younger and just kind of went with it. And so we kind of know each other's vibe and attitude towards music, and our mistakes and flaws, and our weakness and strengths and whatnot.
That's awesome. You remember the first song you guys ever wrote? Together? And like when was this? Like what time? Like what year?
Together we wrote that song that you like, Confiscate My Youth. That was our very first that we wrote together. And we wrote that song in beginning of 2018, I would like to say. Maybe ending of 2017, the song kind of came about, and 2018 we went and finished it. And Confiscate With My Youth was the first song. This was during our college time, so like that song pretty much derived from our college struggles, you know.
Yeah, I want to talk about that song, dude. I was bumping it the other day coming home from work. Something about the it's like the whole concept of the song, how it sounds, the video, it's all very nostalgic. Like if you guys haven't seen it, you should go check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. But like it starts off with like you getting ready for work, like with your scrubs, and then you see like what are those called? The cameras with the
Viewmaster.
Yes, there you go. And then like you're just clicking through, and it's like all flashbacks of different memories you've had. And then like I was taken aback. I felt like a kid. And then the guitar riff comes in. I was like, yo, this is so chill. And then I fell in love with the song fast. And then you and your girlfriend's vocals were like clean. And then the song is just a very like it's like it puts you in a good mood, like reminiscent, like driving down the road and just kind of like laid back cruise. Yeah. What was the inspiration behind that song?
What was that?
What was the inspiration behind that song? You said you were in college and like you were dealing with struggles. Is it kind of just going back to like simpler times when you were a kid and stuff?
Yeah, because you know, like when we were younger, I could speak for boys too. Like or like, oh, one day when I you know, when you're 12, like one day when I'm in high school, I'm gonna do this, and then middle school, like, oh, I can't wait to be this a senior in college because I can drive, and then you're in high school, you're like, can't wait to be in college. And now we're in college, we're like about to graduate, we're like,
let me go back.
and yeah, like I want to go
Yeah.
back. You always, maybe in college, you're like thinking like, man, it was so nice, you know, being a middle schooler, being a 10-year-old running around playing tag, playing you know, football and like playing basketball, not worrying about anything, you know. And then so when we're this was like in the middle of our college, you're like, I didn't know if I was gonna get into the nursing program. Haley was in like her own like and she was in a confusion between like what major does she really want to finish with, because she was doing well in engineering, but she didn't feel like she was gonna, you know, it fit her lifestyle, and she wanted to do computer science. She did well, but it didn't fit her lifestyle. So, you know, like a lot of that, and just wanting to like, man, if we can just put this down and like remember the good old days, and so confiscate my youth in like a flash right there as like a summary.
No, that's that the whole concept to me was so creative and so dope, because like a lot of things in general, like throughout the video, throughout the song, you discover in your youth, like your talents, your love for music, your love for writing, just ways that you know you have fun and you truly express yourself. Like that video is pretty deep. I don't know if I'm reaching that. I took a lot of stuff was like I just sat back, dude. I was just like I watched it over and over, and I was listening to it, and I was just like, yo, this is awesome. It just puts you in a like a time capsule kind of like, and I'm sure everyone's would be different, and I feel like that was kind of the point, because you're telling it through your perspective, but it's so relatable, even though it's like your specific point of view, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're on the dot there, because the reason for the ViewMaster was like, you know, we look at photos as a time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
So within the ViewMaster are memories in
Yeah.
those photos, and just clicking through it, or like us reenacting, each click was reenacting a memory in our head. Like, oh man, I remember when I used to be in the swing set,
Yeah, the
um,
sandbox.
sandbox, in the beach,
Playground,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Did
You
you
know,
have
being
one
the
laying around, or like did you guys
kind.
have to go get one?
We had to get one. We had one up, but see, I was from the Philippines, so my toys didn't make it here. You know, like the whole recycling thing with cousins in the Philippines.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I was getting older. My mom was like, you know, send your old toys. So I knew I had one. Haley had one too, but you know, I think it was deep inside their storage unit. So
I probably got
luckily,
one laying around somewhere.
Amazon. Oh yeah, you too.
Yeah, I know I
Yeah,
do. The red one too.
yeah. Those are the nostalgic ones, man. It's
Who
where it's at.
whose idea was the concept of the video, and who directed and shot it?
Um, Good question. So Haley and I had the concept in our head. So initially, how we do anything, music and music videos, or just anything, is someone brings up like a cool idea and we build from it. So Haley had an idea of like the ViewMaster, and I was like, so what about the ViewMaster? And she was saying like, it would sound crazy, but like, what if the music video was us looking through the ViewMaster and things were playing during the ViewMaster? And I was like, okay, so somewhat nostalgic. And then I kind of built from that, and I was like, this song is super vibey, so we got to do some nostalgic and very vibey stuff. So what is the most vibey thing we can do right now? And they're like, oh, go to the beach. We gotta go to a playground, you know, and then gotta
Anything
ride
that
it.
just put you in a good mood.
Yeah. So it kind of like the swing set was, you would say like in the middle school, 6th grade to like middle school. Sandcastle was like, you would say like, you know, kind of like six years old and up, and then riding in the truck is like middle school to high school.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You guys went through the stage. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm even more mind blown now.
in a sense, we didn't initially do it like that, but it just like it all makes sense if you really think about it, because these are different parts of our life that was very essential. You know, when you know, so for the people that are in high school, you know, you don't ditch school, but you know, when we ditch school, you know,
When we
was,
were
you know,
youth.
skips.
Can't do that in college. You're paying for it.
Yeah, that's why. So, and then all the other stuff was like, you know, like you met most of your crew growing up in your neighborhood in the playground. You know,
yeah.
If you were the new kid in the block, where would you meet the most kids? In the playground. So that's why it was super essential.
Or even in school too. Like, where do you first experience a fight or rejection or stuff like that? Anything? Exactly.
Yes.
Playground.
Exactly. That's where it's at.
Man, that I really applaud you guys for that whole. The song itself was already like, yeah, it's very. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's very impactful and meaningful. Like, it does something to you, and then to add like that's amazingly creative concept of a video onto it. It just takes you. It's like a movie. It's not even a song. It just takes you on like a whole experience. Like you're watching you guys, and then like go through all these stages and do all these things, and then you, even if you can't relate directly, it makes you like go back to be like, yeah, you when the video's done, you feel like you look yourself, you're like, oh my god, wait, I'm an adult. Like I gotta go work. What am I doing?
I know, man. It's like that
was awesome, man. I applaud you guys, and that was a classic, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, if another thing too is we also have another music video there, Laney Laney. If you weren't able to see it, everyone else, yeah, we have another music video called Laney Laney. That was our very first song that we recorded ever. So come check it out. You know?
Yeah. I'll throw it all below. So who directed and edited that? Was that you guys also?
No, we had the idea, but it's like, man, video and like producing is just a music production is two different monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So our friend Noelle, so she reached out to us long ago, and she was like, "Oh, we should do a video. I'm a film student, you know, from Hawaii, but I'm in school in California. I would love to, you know, collab with you guys." And we're like, we met her, and she's like the coolest person. So we went from there, and then we have a friend from UH Productions. So it's like a video club, and UH, and her name is Janice, and she did the video, like the camera handling and everything. The team for Confiscate My Youth was just those two. And then we had, I guess we would be like production, like we would have the idea and then we collaborate with them. And then Noelle was the one that kind of like edited and her magic. And then Janice did like, she had all the equipment for cameras. So like, I wanted a wide angle, I wanted this, like she had it all. So, and she knew how to use her camera correctly, in a full capacity. And bro, like when people say like, "Oh, I don't know what to do during a quarantine," like low key, we kind of did that during quarantine. Like we kind of just did all those in 2 to 3 days, just like straight. But this was when Hawaii was opening up the first time, by the way. So
I see.
Keep in mind, like what we weren't trying to do anything. Like the beaches were open already. That time the gym opened up again and things like that. So it was just nice just to kind of like run all those ideas and just do it in like 2 3 days of and just kind of do something during quarantine and make something out of it while you have so much time in the world, you know.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Before I ask you about more of your guys' music, you personally, how old were you when you started playing instruments, and what else do you play?
Um,
Must have been young, assuming like with the church scene, because that's kind of how it is, right?
yeah. So I started. When I got here from the Philippines, when I was 10 years old. We had, like in elementary school, we had ukulele,
Mm-hmm.
Hawaiian class, and they would like teach us how to play surf or something.
Surf is everybody's.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what
The second you
that
pick up an ukulele, you learn the song.
yeah
Surf. That's it.
foundation, man. That's the foundation of
Of
any
anything.
boy and girl that is a
Yeah.
musician. Always is
C,
surf.
A minor, F, G, and you're good.
Yeah,
And you're
that's
set. And
much
you are
it.
now on the radio.
Yeah, like I started from there. And then my parents were like, oh, okay, so we weren't that well off growing up, so it would be a cheaper option for them to buy me like a Costco ukulele. Back then, Costco did get had some pretty decent
Mm-hmm.
ukuleles themselves. So from there, we they got me that instrument so that I can take away my boredom, and then they put me into like a small ukulele school in Waipahu, and then from there kind of like learn a little bit more, and then the whole like if you're in a small ukulele school you have to like perform in Pro Ridge or something.
Yeah.
So
Right,
we
right.
would have demonstrations. It was like
Nice.
I don't know. No, I hate doing that, but one thing led to another. 2000, like middle school, the whole Gabe Bondoc, Jeremy Passion,
Mhm.
that scene came
Of
through the youth,
course. Of
right?
course.
Acoustic,
Yep.
Lemonade,
Yep.
um,
Albert Pulsis, Edgar Rafael, Aquino.
actually Joseph Vincent. They all came in.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear Joseph Vince's name in a minute.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's the acoustic guitar because like as a guy, you wanted to impress the girls back then because, all of them were like swooning over like YouTube. So you're like, oh, one way to do that is to actually learn how to play the guitar. So
That
yeah,
was
like it's
your pretty much that's your motivation behind it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's this episode. Thank you.
exactly, bro. Like real talk, man. Like and every song, it makes me super Filipino. It's Lemonade.
Lemonade. I knew that was
First,
gonna come up. Bro,
yeah,
that I mean it's as cliche as it is, and in terms of that sense, or like that's the Asian go-to jam song. Yo, that song
yeah.
is smooth. That
It's
song is
smooth.
smooth. Jeremy Passion, like the ukulele version, the original version, the song is smooth. It
Yeah,
gets everybody like whatever the reaction is, they listen. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
that's a
No,
go-to.
real talk, man. I love. I still respect the dude, man. Like that guy really inspired not just Filipino boys, but boys in general
Yeah.
to pick up an instrument. Gabe Bondoc as well, AJ Raphael,
Hmm.
and then from there, kind of like okay. The my church, my youth leader then was like, "Oh, you like play guitar?" And then for the church, and I kind of like made it for me because in church you had to learn how to play a G. You have to at least identify what chords to play because they'll give you a book, and then you're like, all right, you got to follow that. And how great is our God? G, E
Hmm.
minor. Like you gotta just like pay attention. And then it taught me how to follow a band or like a team
Hmm.
because like the worship leader would do like one more time or from the top
And you got to be
or
able to like, if someone else is leading over changing key, you got to know how to just.
yeah, exactly. You feel like it's speeding up a little, and you're like, okay, I think we're gonna like take it to the next level, or getting louder,
Hmm.
or this one is gonna be that cutoff where
This
everyone
one where
just
you pause and then go
yeah,
back.
like
Yeah.
all. I think I can speak that every worship team has that sense of I guess manners,
Hmm.
and sense of camaraderie, and they just know how to kind of play with the band. So
Yeah.
um, I learned, and then from one thing led to another, kind of just like learning how to play guitar on my own. And I learned the electric guitar when we started Ragamuffs, because we were a folk duo, so we were doing acoustic guitar. We were like
Yeah, yeah.
Mumford, we were like Philip Phillips, when we were Sir Ragamuffin and the Lady.
Mm-hmm.
So when we picked up the electric guitar to do indie rock, we're like, oh, we gotta learn how to play. Like, how hard is it to transition?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was hard. It was hard, but it was. We got used to it, and we just like kind of practice as much as we can. And so this is where we're at. So I'm not the best guitar player, Jordan. All right. I'm like okay. I'm like not the best, but I do I get by.
Right, right. No, I totally relate because it's the same. It's literally the same with me. Like, except I didn't really have any formal lessons in anything. It all started because of church. So like, I
Mm-hmm.
attribute a lot of my musical knowledge and like music IQ to church.
Yep.
Because that was the first format and stage, literally stage, that I had to share like these talents. You know what I'm saying? So it was always like growing
Yeah.
up, like my dad, my uncle was teaching me ukulele. Then from that transition to guitar, acoustic and electric, and then just jamming during practice sessions or whatever. Like you just jump on the piano, you learn a little bit, jump on the drums, jump on the bass. You
Yeah.
kind of just exposed to everything, and and that's something that I deeply appreciate and I hold close to my heart because music is one of my passions and it's because of
Mm-hmm.
that. So with your guys success and your guys' goals and drive and your passion to do this, how much of that in a musical standpoint do you attribute to your roots in playing for church and in worship music?
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Like before any shows, in the end of the day, like Haley and I will kind of be a little nervous to play, and then we're like, the whole kind of God kind of has us,
Mm-hmm.
as long as we're faithful and we stay rooted. Like He got us. God made music for us to inspire people, and that was like the main thing for us in Ragamuffs. We didn't do Ragamuffs to like, oh, we're so cool, or like money, or we want to be famous. Like, the main idea for Ragamuffs was to make people happy and to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
And one way we could share God's gift for us was just for us to share what He gave us through music. And yeah, it's secular music. We
Mm-hmm.
play indie music, but the intention of just showing love and joy to people is all there, and that's where the root came from. And we strongly believe that when we were in the worship team, because we weren't also all like really great our instruments, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we showed passion and find a way to bring joy, like I think we did our job, regardless if we
Right.
were like Hillsong or Elevation Worship or
Yeah.
just like a mediocre worship team from Eva Beach, like, you know.
No, that's awesome, dude. No, yeah, like, and then like what you said too on a technical standpoint, every time I jam with other people or at parties or at weddings or just for fun, a lot of like the technical side of music, like a lot of things like like what we were talking about earlier, like how to stop and then
Yeah.
how to be able to transition to a different chord if like you're moving up in pitch or okay that song
Mm-hmm.
ended, now we're doing this song led by another person and this person sings higher, so we got to play this chord, just being able to switch on the dime, just like the adaptability,
Yeah.
overcoming stage fright, everything,
Mm-hmm.
like continuing when you mess up and not making it obvious, so much
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like stage etiquette and performance um like skills I got because I got on stage at church and was playing and singing from a
Yeah.
young age. So like
Yeah.
everything I do now and at the level that I do it now, I 100% I agree with you, bro. It's all because of that. And like what you said too, like what how you and your girlfriend kind of just when you feel the nerves and like a lot of times like not just in church, but like in anything. Even if like before I record a song too, if I'll just like just to bring me some peace. I'll just stop what I'm doing and just pray, and it puts me in the right spot.
Mhm.
And then like I feel what you said when you said yeah, like your songs from this band is secular, but the the overall goal is to, you know, like the character of like God is shown through you guys' attitude and through the music, because
Yeah.
your whole goal is to uplift people and like
Hmm.
spread joy. So that's the root right there. That's the seed right there being watered,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's so awesome that you do that. And then like the fact that you do that with like your girlfriend, your best friend, that's awesome, man. Like, you know, like you guys have a similar upbringing, background, and passion, and then you guys do it together. Like I don't know how many people do that, you know. So how is that like being, because being in anything and performing in anything and having anything as like a hobby or a profession, that's one thing. Now doing it with your other half or like a family member, somebody like really close in relation to,
Hmm.
how is that like? Is it easier because the connection's there? Do you guys butt heads more often, or what's that like? Is it like a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. One is because, so to start off with, like we are very blessed to have each other to do this with, because we knew each other for so long, and we find joy within each other. So who else to find and experience this joy but your significant other?
Right.
But then there's also times where, since we're so comfortable with each other, when we do need to tell each other like how to fix things or what to do to change things, sometimes we can come off a little bit more needy and pressuring, a little bit more, a little bit more real,
Right.
because
Right.
like
Right. No
worker,
filter.
like, yeah, when you worker, oh, maybe you should do this next time, and we'll work it out. But for us, we're like, hey, why did you do that? Like,
Hmm.
we need to do this together, and you need to know that what you did is this. And then sometimes
Right.
it's really hard to accept, because sometimes mistakes are never easy to hear. So
Hmm.
especially like we can derive from pride sometimes because of how other perceives us, and we're like, oh wow, I think I did good. But if your other half kind of sees like you have something to fix, you just gotta like, all right, I need to first of all, I need to like intake that, and then realize that, and then learn from it.
Yeah.
So it's just much more real. That's all it is. There's no getting around to it. There's no sugarcoating when there's things that need to be fixed. It's
Yeah.
like, we need to do this.
Yeah. Especially
You
if it's
you
your craft, you know, and you're
exactly.
putting it out and your name's on it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's almost like as we were, like together, and like, yeah, almost like the love you would have for someone that you truly respect. Because if I see God through her, I see Jesus through her. So it's just the same time. It's like, okay, well, if I can tell Jesus like about everything, straight up, I need to tell you everything straight up, and there's
Yeah.
no filter. Sometimes those are the hardest to accept, because it's coming from someone real.
Yeah.
So
Someone who you actually respect. Because if it came from somebody whose opinion you didn't care about, it's like whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or like, acquaintance, or like, oh, okay, well,
If your
I don't
opinion is
think
kind of
he
invalid,
knows.
whatever.
Yeah.
But because it's
So
someone you care what they think, it's like, yeah, you take it a little deeper.
yeah, exactly. So that's why in the end of this whole thing, like, it's a blessing, and blessing to have her be part of this with me. Um, but in all, I feel like I'm joining her, because this is like, this is her like, this is our thing, but the drive, she just has so much drive for it, and I'm very blessed to have her to lead this
Mhm.
lead this along with me, and just me supporting her with everything she do.
That's awesome, man. How important to you is constructive criticism? For me, like
Mm-hmm.
I I feel like we're our worst critics. We're our own worst critics. However, at the same time though, and then like, I'm always open to um because you want to get better, right? So I'm always open to comments and constructive criticism, not just in music, just in life in general. Like, oh, I made a mistake doing this. Why did this happen? Blah blah blah. But I feel like when it's something in in a sense that you take pride in because you believe that you're good, believe that you're supposed to do that. That's why you were put on this earth. Believe that that's why God created you. Have you ever been in a situation where you experience maybe it was constructive criticism or it came off a little bit harsher, and it was regarding something you love to do and believe you're good at, which is music, and then you felt like there was some truth in it, but it was hard to accept? Because for me, like
Oh, yeah.
I would never take it seriously anyway if someone tried to critique me or correct me on something that they themselves don't do. Like for example,
Mm-hmm.
I would never critique somebody on how they play trumpet because I don't play trumpet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever experienced a time where like whether it be from your girlfriend or even yourself or anyone that you felt like their comments or whatever, it stung because it had some truth in it, but it was just hard to accept because you're like, you're proud of your work and you're like, nah, I couldn't have done that bad or whatever. You know what I mean? Has that ever
Yeah,
happened to you?
every time, man.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to you, my girlfriend is very analytical. That's what she studied in the end of the whole thing. She's very analytical, and I love everything that she does. But if there was two of me, she would be the one that's just like the raw one, because
Mm,
when you make a mistake and then you catch it, you're just like, oh man, like you give yourself a little bit of like, oh man, you next time you could have got that, like, you could
yeah.
have fixed stuff. But it's, imagine like you telling someone else a critique, but it's just yourself telling yourself a critique in another person. That's her. She's
Mm,
telling me exactly what I needed to hear without the excuses, without the, oh man, you did good, but in your head you tell yourself that.
yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, this is what you need to fix. And like sometimes after shows, I think like I did my job again by making people happy, but maybe I went too fast on one of the guitars, or I went a little off key on something. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's not that she's gonna be like harsh about it, but she'd be like, remember that one part of this song?
Yeah. You gotta
You know,
address it.
yeah, that the next time. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, we just had a killer show. Like, what are you talking about? And no,
Yeah.
you need to fix that. And I'm like, we would be kind of butting heads because we're like, no, I swear I didn't. But she would show me a video of like from a friend of ours that took like one of our performances and be like, see, this is what happened. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
I can hear it right now,
Right. Right.
and hear it. So then that the question you were saying, like, where it was real but you didn't want to believe it. Yeah,
There's proof.
like every time, man. And honestly, constructive criticism from her is super important to me because there are things that my pride takes so much of, that sometimes it actually hinders me from being the best who I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
I always think that I was good because some other, I don't know, some outsider said I was good, but not in my inside group, which is her. It doesn't matter. But if she said that, like I have something to fix, it's like it's so important because she knows everything about me, and so that's why it's like it's so important for her to say something for me, because then I get kind of patient after, and then I learn, and then I let my pride down, and I learn to like lessen the blow sometimes. We're like, oh yeah,
Mm.
you're right, you're right.
So let me ask you this: does it go both ways, and are you just as like brutally honest? Because there's times where like, especially recently because of COVID, like we've had to switch up how we do
Mm-hmm.
church. Like so we'll split up the worship teams into different groups, and everyone kind of we rotate. So this group will record music or worship for this Sunday, and next week is you guys, and next week is you guys. So like when it's my sister and I's turn, there are a lot of takes where I mess up, and then she was killing it. And then there are takes where she thought she was doing awesome, and then one little like like pitchiness, or like I did a wrong, I played the wrong chord, but she did
Mhm.
amazing. She did perfect. I'll be like, oh, I'll correct myself or I'll correct her. Like, does it go both ways? Do you do that as well?
I do it both ways. But for me, like I'm not so much of a like a snipe shooter on that
Like a
because
perfectionist kind of thing.
single thing
Yeah.
that could be, because we want to get better. We want to perfect what we have. But for me, is like if I didn't think it was such a big deal, I wouldn't, I guess, bring it up. I'd probably be like, you did super well, maybe this part, but like I'm
Hmm.
such a easygoing guy. It's a curse sometimes because I could possibly help, both of us by getting better, but if I become a little bit more critical. But I do say it's both ways, but I'm a little less of the fun person, like, oh yeah, it's okay, like
Yeah.
things like that. I'm always alleviating things, and she's the one that's kind of like, all right, putting foot in the door on what we need to do and whatnot, especially for the band because she really takes a lot of her time, in this project, especially like I'm at work sometimes and I'm taking like um, some hours to go to work. Sometimes I come back and it's just I'm a little bit kind of out of it, so she kind of reminds me. So yeah, it kind of both ways, but I'm a little bit more of the at ease, chill dude.
But yeah, but that's a good balance because that's how you guys continue to grow. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's very beneficial that you guys openly, not just in music, and like like in a relationship in general, when everything's on the table and
Hmm.
there's no filters or there's no smoke and mirrors. It's just this is what
Yeah,
it is.
it's very straight
Let's
up.
yeah, and no, that's how you move forward. Um
Hmm.
that's how you get rid of assumptions and
Yeah,
miscommunication. So that's very important, and not just in music, again, life in general and relationships in general.
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Very yang for us because if we were both the same people exactly, we would have been over a while ago because I think we would have been a little bit too much for each other because one is not listening to the other. You know what I mean? So where it's
Yeah, yeah.
just that the way our chemistry works is the way it is, and
Hmm.
I'm very grateful for that.
Nice. So do you guys co-write every song, or are there some times where you write majority of it, or she writes all of it and you jump in, or how does the songwriting process work for you guys, starting with like the inspiration, the concept, and then writing it and then finalizing it?
Mm-hmm. So for our first album, like couple songs were initiated by me with like chords and everything with a sense of melody direction, and then I kind of write like a whole verse or two and with a chorus, but my flaw would be killing it with the grammar portion of the lyrics. So she kind of like, wait, why did you say this? This does not make sense. So she kind of fix that and make it make sense and put her 2 cents into crafting it a little bit better so that whatever we are trying to say is super clear to the audience. So, for example, our song "The Chaser," um, that song, I started the chorus. The verse was a little bit up in the air when I gave it to her, and so she kind of fixed it and made it much more like clear and with a lot of hidden gems. And so that's how the writing process went. It's been going. I kind of start things, and then she does the draft cleanup section, and then she adds stuff to make the music sound better. So
Hmm.
our process of writing is so far.
Is it different every song? Because I know sometimes like you'll both kind of collectively have an idea and they just vibe
Mhm.
off each other, and then sometimes something will come to you randomly, like on the toilet or something, and then you
Yeah.
just go with it, and then you bring it to her after, or vice versa, or like sometimes you're in a rut, and then all of a sudden you get a hit of inspiration. So like you keep a structure for the most part, but every song, would you say, is different in terms of like how it comes about and then how it's finished?
Yeah, for there's a couple songs like the recent song that we have a new single that it came out yesterday, Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and that song was initially started by her, and she killed that song, man. Like she did everything she could. All I did was back her up with things, helped her with the structure of the song and what kind of energy we put in the whole song, and gave my 2 cents. But initially, like for example, this song was more 70-30. You know, she
Mm-hmm.
did like 70% of that song. And um it's also because, like, you know, I also initiated a lot of songs like in our old album. So maybe it's just like that kind of like balance. Maybe she needs to just make some more, and then when I kind of have enough energy again to make some more, you know, because like I put all my time and effort initiating songs, and I'm kind of dry, so I need to like kind of get more inspiration.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of coming back. So right now it's a back and forth, you know, as to who starts and whatnot.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So
Yeah.
speaking of inspiration, are there ever times where you guys like have writer's block and then you just totally blank out, or like does that rarely happen because when you write a song you're just in the zone and it just finishes?
No, big time, man. Like when I say like sometimes our juice is just dry, like man, like when we had one song from our first album, Yellow Days. The person that we were trying to record with, she said like it would be cool if we can put a verse 3, but we wrote the song a year ago prior to that moment, and that was like the only thing that was hindering us from stop like finishing the whole like album was that verse 3, and it took us like 2 weeks to write a verse 3 because we didn't know how that song was, because that vibe of who we are then
It's a
we
year
can't
ago.
bring able now, because it's almost two different perspectives. So we had to think back how we were in that time of era,
Mm-hmm.
and so when we put the pieces of the songs together, it sounds all similar.
Right.
So yeah, writer's block is real. I mean, currently we kind of got rid of a little bit of writer's block from this last previous single that we just got out. So writer's block is a struggle because we already kind of started an album, and so after that first initial goal, it's like how could we sustain our music with new ideas, because
Mm-hmm.
we already went with the inspiration of how we was, you know, growing up, all of the music that we had ever, we put it out in one album. Now the next album is how could we take our music and our not our inspiration anymore, but our own sound into making music. So now we're constantly super critical. We're like, man, this sounds like another band, and this sounds like this, and we don't want to go with this, and all that jazz. So it's kind of hard. Writer's block is real, man. But one way we get over it is just to take a fat break and just like
Mm-hmm.
comes to you, it comes to you. But you know, taking a break sometimes could take weeks. So you're back at, like the following month. You're like, man, I don't even know if I want to finish this song
Man,
now.
sometimes months and years.
Yeah, exactly. You
Because you
come
don't want to
back.
force it, you want it to be natural inspiration. So,
Yeah, exactly. Because you know those bangers that you probably have under your belt was like it was because of that one whim. You just went one
mm-hmm.
time, verse and chorus all came out.
Like I bet you weren't planning it that day; it just happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so now you're like, man, I wish that they can come again for this song. But the truth is, those times where sometimes are just like one in a one chance that you're gonna get that so super rare, and when you have it, you just gotta stop everything
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing.
Yep. Or like
Get
just
that.
write it down, record it while you're driving, just put it in your phone.
Do that, like man, it's just that's the ultimate struggle, man.
I've done that before, like where I hum a melody and I'm like, yo, I can turn that into a chorus. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget. I'm in like traffic. I'm like singing into my phone like on a voice recorder or something. But like,
I love Hawaii traffic in a sense if you're a musician,
yeah,
because
yeah.
where else could you just like be like, because you know when you sit in your bed sometimes you end up falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're in the road, you're literally in a chair and you're stuck in traffic, and all you can do is sit
With your
and then
thoughts.
like melody in your head. You're like, huh, and then start recording, you know,
Yeah.
while you're in,
No, I
you
know
know.
what you
So
mean.
yeah, you can't relax too much. You're still constantly thinking. So
Yeah. I
yeah, I
believe
find
like, oh sorry, man.
no, like that's I feel like driving is the best way to write for me
Oh yeah, yeah.
personally.
No, I
Yeah.
totally agree. I've had a lot of good ideas in terms of like lyrics and stuff or like melodies while driving. Like like I did a song like to like last year with my cousin Trav, and then like so I rapped the verse and then he rapped the verse, and then but the beat was so like melodic. I was like, I'm gonna sing my own hook on it. I'm gonna sing my own chorus. And then before I had the concept of the song, but prior to me like writing my verse and asking him for his, I had the chorus first because I was just because
Mhm.
like literally I was driving and I had the beat and I was just like I started humming it, and then the next thing you know, I was like, oh man, I'm forget. So I had to put it down on my phone, and I got home,
Yeah,
and then I just put words to it, and then that was that. And because of the hook, that inspired like the two like fire verses that came from it, and it was like literally because I was in the car. But I
yeah,
believe like in terms of like writer's block, like for me, like because there's been times where I don't put out anything like months, maybe even years apart because I don't.
Mhm.
I've talked about like almost everything I could talk about or that I've experienced.
Yeah,
I don't want to
exactly.
come off repetitive. I want to like live life, experience it, so when I come back, I have
Hmm.
more things to talk about. You know what I mean? And then I feel
Yeah.
like when you hit writer's block, it's like if you sit there and you try to force it, then the product is gonna be like subpar. It's gonna sound forced. It's gonna sound like not genuine.
Yeah.
you faked it. As opposed
No,
to
it's,
like just taking a break, living life, going through things, experiencing things, coming back with a fresh perspective. Like, oh, okay, I can write about this. I went through that. That was the first time for that.
mhm.
So yeah, sometimes like I had to learn that over the years. Like I used to be frustrated, and it's not like I get writer's block a lot, because I feel like if there's one thing that God blessed me with, I could just like once I start writing it, sometimes like I'll read a piece and I'll hold on to it forever. And then but most of the time I want to say like 90% of the time when I start writing something, I'm done like within a week or a day or 2 days or that same day sometimes. So I feel like sometimes it's good to just like relax and just let life happen, and then it comes to
No,
that's when the
that's
most natural ones come up.
yeah, that's totally true. Especially like me speaking about like what you kind of were saying, like you wrote your life story already in couple songs,
Hmm.
and now you're kind of dry because you already said everything you had to say.
I'm only 24. I didn't do that. What?
I need more life
I need more
experience.
life
Yeah, exactly. Because
to talk about.
one was very like this, and then this song is this part of your life.
Hmm.
So you ran and dry a little bit. So that's where I'm at. Like we wrote the album, we talked about our relationship, we talked about life growing up, we talked about a little bit of death, we talked about summer times,
Hmm.
and now we're like, okay, what do we talk about now that so when we write this song, it's not like, oh yeah, kind of that one song that they have.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
that's where.
sometimes like you hear it a lot. Like you can never not write another love song or something
Mhm.
you've been through. Because if you have a different take on it, or if you do it with a
Yeah.
different spin or a different sound, even if the message is the same, it's still nice to be told again as a listener.
Mhm.
But it's just your critical ear as an artist. Like you don't want to be repetitive. But it's like how many love songs have we heard from Bruno, and they're all about love, but I rock with all of them. Like I love all of them. Like they're different genres. He changed this or he approached it like this, but it's all
Mhm.
about the girl he loves. It's still like we still listen to all of them. You know what I'm saying? So I want to ask, like, do you have a favorite song that you've written and done and performed and recorded? Like, is there one song that sticks out to you the most that, like, okay, yeah, that's my favorite because of whatever reason?
Oh, yeah, Sunset Chaser. Sunset
Why?
Chaser is one of our favorite songs in general. A lot of the songs in general that we've been writing is all sad songs with a happy tune. This was the most saddest song that we ever had, and um, the chorus is "Oh darling, don't you cry no more, 'cause the sun will soon shine 1,000 times. Don't you worry, dear, dark clouds will soon clear." And like that moment where everything just like got so to the point where you're so fed up with life, that was like subliminally, that's like a message from God or some higher being or just someone that loves you,
Mm-hmm.
reminding you like every day, like the sun looks like it's going down and it's never gonna come back again, but every day it's gonna come back up.
Right.
It's kind of like your feelings, like in your joy. Sometimes you'll have rough days, but in due time, it's gonna rise again.
Mm-hmm.
And the main focus of that song was we have family and friends that um, got into suicidal ideations and um, actually committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I mean we had to grow up real quick. Um, there's things that we wish that we were there to hang on to, but definitely that song was one of our like our most favorite song, and it's because also everybody in this world, especially in our age group and in the youth, they're all experiencing sadness in
Mm-hmm.
different ways. And so that song kind of just reminds people like, man, yes, life kind of sucks, and they will life will put you to your feet, like you be on your face on the ground, but just remember that one day it's gonna come back up again, and everything will be all right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole message of it. And if you like really listen to Sunset Chaser without those contexts, you think it's a summer song. It's like a
Oh, yeah.
nice surf. You're driving in your truck down to the
Because of how it's
oaks.
presented.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
that
guys
was
do
the
that on
point.
purpose?
We do it all the time. All
That's
our
pretty.
songs.
That's so creative because like you have a deeper message, but if you don't want to like not that you would, but if you don't want to turn off the listener, you want to hook them right away. You hook them onto something like upbeat and catchy,
Mhm.
and then once they're hooked and they start listening, they're like, oh whoa, well there's a story being told here. Like
Yeah.
that's really smart, man.
If you didn't think, like confiscate my youth is actually pretty sad,
Like
because
yeah,
hanging on to um, getting back to that old you because you changed. That's why like
mm-hmm.
in the end of the video, like we kind of had that like message like, oh, there was a tear coming down
Yeah.
because it was like, oh my god, I'm effing late to work, and
Yeah.
then you that viewmaster kind of took back a step in time, and you're like viewing everything, and you're like, frick, I need to slow down time because I need to live at a moment and just remind myself like, yeah, I grew up, but there's happy times in life, and maybe I need to find something new to do. Our Laney song, it sounds like a nice love song, but it's actually about people finding love in the wrong places,
Mm.
you know, in the whole um, online dating scene, the quick pickup kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
um, get one and done kind of idea. And, a lot of our friends go through that. And so Laney was just pretty much like finding finding places and getting to the wrong crowd, and true love awaits, don't be a fool. That was like the
Mm-hmm.
message. So
I
yeah,
haven't
tick
heard it
tick.
yet, but what's the meaning behind the title? Because you explained what the song is about already.
Oh, Laney was it's just a name that was kind of inspired by a film that I saw. the main character was Lane. Her name is Elaine, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, Elaine kind of sounds cool. I mean, like whatever, because driving H3, like whatever, just write anything. But one thing led to another, and while I was writing that, I remember just friends in my head like crying over people that would screw them over because, oh wow, he loves me or she loved me and they did a thing and now they got ghosted, and that
Mhm.
was the whole point of that, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, man. Yeah, people don't well, like as artists when we put out something like yeah we try to sometimes have a straightforward message, and then there's also like little Easter eggs that like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of subliminal and indirect, and then people can take it for what it is. And then there's those listeners who take something that we planted and then they make it into like this whole forest, and we weren't even intentionally trying to do that, but if they can create that in their own minds from that, then that's and it relates to themselves in life, then they're cool, you know. Like I find myself doing that with other people I listen to as well, so I can imagine like when you put out your own music and you have the intention of saying this or getting this
Mm-hmm.
message across, somebody may take it cut and dry as that, and then someone else might take it like, yes, this is what they're saying, but look, this is what they're really trying to say, and then you're like, whoa, I wasn't even trying to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
Yeah,
it's true. Super
yeah.
true. That was like our little Easter egg, was the whole idea of like people don't want to listen to sad songs. It's so easy for people to listen to happy songs.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick is there's a lot of listeners that are very analytical too, that
Yeah.
like, what, wonder what they're trying to say, and then realize like, oh crap, like
Mm-hmm.
it's actually pretty sad, you
Because the
know?
majority will just bob their head to the beat. It's a nice
Mm-hmm.
guitar riff. It's catchy.
Yeah. Kind of
It's not
emo in
really.
this,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. So this new album that you got, is it released or releasing?
Yeah, it's our new single release yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, is Achy Luminescence? Did I say that correctly?
Oh yeah, that was our whole
That's the
album that
album.
was released last year, 2019 August, but and then this one is called Used to Be,
Mm.
um was released yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, 2020.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. I'll link everything below. But talk to us about that newest joint. Used to be like the like how it came about, what it's about, where people can find it, all
uh,
that.
Used to Be is pretty much it's like in a short summary, Used to Be is like kind of social battery. That's pretty much it is. I used to be like very loud. I used to be a social butterfly, but you kind of grow up a little bit,
A
and
little
now
bit.
you're choosing who you want to actually hang out with
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, or do you really want to waste your time again doing the same thing? All social battery stuff. Social anxiety is a big one too, because sometimes we are very open. Like, dude, like when I met you at the gym, we're very like we hit it off, we talk stories, but there are times that maybe you're meeting someone new, you're just not into it at the moment, and you just kind of like, oh, hey, what's up? Blah blah blah, and then kind of go on your way. You don't want to take your time to actually do more, but yeah, that's what's pretty much used to be. It used to be like, yeah, a lot used to be whatever, right? So that was the whole idea of that song, was to kind of show that all of us, in a sense, are um, also turning into this social anxiety and social battery drains and whatnot.
Nice. Did this concept come from you again, or like was your girlfriend, or was it like
Oh
both?
yeah, Haley made this concept up, and I kind of put like my 2 cents, but majority was like it was her. She's very brilliant at making things like that. So
Hmm.
kind of
So
nice to write
was
that.
was this already pre-recorded, or like you guys had to like did she fly up there? You came back home for a bit and you didn't tell nobody, and
We
then you guys recorded it.
no, we actually bounce files, and I'm really blessed to live in a world now that Gmail and Dropbox is a
Oh
thing,
yeah.
because For us, we
Sending
just
big files.
yeah, so we just send like the whole Logic file, and then I could see what she needed, put out some guitar lines or vocals, and then send her a WAV file, and then she bounced it. And then we have a friend that kind of puts the mix together, produce it, and then we go up
Oh
and
wow.
person that does our master, and then it's a whole thing. But we all are living in different places, which was kind of neat. And it comes to show that the whole independent artist thing is kind of like our just vibe, and that's just who we are right now. And it would be nice for someone else to come in and kind of help us like really direct our songs, because it's pretty draining like coming up with new ideas yourself. But so far it's been working for us, and we've been doing that ever since our very first single. Just
Wow.
recording at home, recording in our bedrooms, in our closets to get the really nice mic sounds or whatnot.
Right, right.
You know.
That's crazy. So you
Yeah.
each record your own vocals and instruments like separately because of because you moved, and then someone takes all these bits and pieces and just puts it
Yeah.
together.
Haley was the one that kind of put the bits and pieces together, and then we send it to someone to kind of
Like mix and master.
better. Yeah, just a little bit better.
So you record off your guitar, like if you're doing a guitar riff, you record that into the mic. Into what program are you using? And then you send it off.
Logic. Yeah, we have a
Logic.
Logic. So there's two ways that we were taught to record. One is if you have an amp, you can put like a small condenser into the amp itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other way of doing so was to go straight to a interface and then just go there. But the debate between which one is better is really up to you, because if you do the amp style, it's much more vintage, it's much more raw. If you go straight to the DI or to the box, it's super digital. So either you want more raw, more real, or a little more clean. But sometimes clean sounds too perfect and it sounds too pretty, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
grit is, and then yeah, we have our friend that recorded drums for that song. So it's a whole thing, it's a whole production, and we're so glad that we've been doing this from our first album. So we were used to this. This wasn't new to us to do. So it was just kind of nice to have everyone help out. We only had Haley did a lot of it. So I gave her some inspiration for the guitar. Our friend gave her some inspiration for the bass, and she tracked the bass. She tracked the guitar, and then our friend did drums, and then we put it together. And another person did some like background keys, and that's the song. Yeah, take a listen to it, man.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to ask just on like a engineering standpoint. So like, for example, like the person who laid down the drums for the song, did they listen to the whole song and they played and recorded the whole song, or they like recorded a section and you guys just looped it or whatever?
Oh no, yeah, it's the whole song.
So they sit there and play, listen, and recording and playing to the whole thing. Oh, that's cool.
So
That's cool.
the way he did it, so the drummer that we had that had done this is one of our former drummers, for Ragamuffs. Not the current one, but the one before her. So his name is Chase. So his way of doing it is we'll send him like a rough demo. So we kind of did a demo with another friend of ours. His name is John Sabugo. He pretty much did the drums a little bit live from our iPhones, and then we're like, okay, let's go with that. And then we sent it to our friend Chase, and he tracks it on his equipment. And then way he does it is he's very like, that's why we love him. He's super confident on his abilities and being on time. So he just kind of has it in his head how the song goes, and he just drums it, goes straight to the whole song, and maybe fix things or retracks catch it from there and retrack whatever he needs to fix.
Nice.
And what that drums get sent to Haley or to us, and then Haley puts the rhythm track. So the guitar is super important, and then from there the riff comes in, and then the bass. The bass can come after the drums, but drums is first, and then you finish up with the vocals, and then put things to make it pretty, like synth, like ads, like putting reverb on whatever. But that
add a
whole thing
looping cowbell.
Yeah. You didn't even
Man,
know
that's such a crazy process to think about. There's so many moving parts that have to come together in unison at the end.
Yeah, it's so
as opposed to just being there with your band and recording it together. That's so crazy, bro. I respect that a lot, dude.
Like doing as a whole band, that's actually a lot of money too, because like you think about it, if your mic is right there and the drummer is going at it, and then your mic is connected to your amp, the feedback from the drums will feed to your mic. And now it's like that's why a lot of isolation recording had come into play now. And it sucks because the drummer has to start it, and if the drummer doesn't have it down, we're gonna be waiting for a while, because that drum has to come in first, and that's the most easiest way to have a skeleton first to do the
just
whole
have
track.
the beat, just have the rhythm.
Because
when you have that, then it's like everything else is secondary. Like where you take it, you know where you're going. It's just
There's it's almost like a blueprint. There's places where you need to lay down the guitars, so that's where you come in.
But you can never go off or like too far, because you have to come back on beat. Like drums, it makes sense.
Yeah, you have a blueprint. You already have like the drummer, or you already have where you made those holes of where you do the strums or where you do that riff, this port, whatnot. So it's like, bruh, it's a whole but again, was just very glad that we went with this direction our very first time. And we took a while for us to learn how to do so, because again, we came from just doing this open mic and we didn't take any proper schooling as well. So it's like everything was so new. At very first was super intimidating, but again, it's the whole inspiration. And for anyone that's watching right now, it's like, if you feel like you want to make a band, just make a band. Life is too short. People passed away in the wrong time, or in a time where you think it's wrong or it's too early. So take your time now while you're young to go at it with, super important to do.
Yeah, I feel like there's no excuse either. Like we live in an information era where everything is accessible at the tip of your fingers. You just got to type what you want to know, what you want to learn how to do. And then we've been in quarantine and we have so much time. Like when this podcast idea came about, you know what I'm saying? Like you can do a lot. So yeah, man. Thank you for that, Jam. Yeah.
Yeah, so much.
We gotta like, hopefully when you get back home, we gotta do something like just do a cover for a video or something. Or if you guys ever want to switch up the vibe and have me drop a verse at the end, I got you guys. But yeah, for sure. I don't want to keep you too long, bro. So before I let you go, just let everybody know where they can check out the new single and all that, and let them know.
Cool. Yeah. So check out first our Instagram at Ragamuffs, RAGAMUFFS. Check out all our songs through your Spotify or your Apple Music, Pandora, Shazam, or SoundCloud. Check it out on YouTube. It's all there. Amazon Music, whatever. Everywhere. And it's through Ragamuffs. It's just Ragamuffs. You guys again.
Yeah, it'll all be below, man. Hey, Joe, thank you so much for doing this, my brother. I miss you, man. I hope you're doing well up there. I'm praying for you that you stay safe when you go to work all the time, and that you stay healthy. Hopefully you come back and I see you soon. You look sick as ever, so keep up with it. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, bro. I appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
Later.